this, the greatest generation. Bill was part of that great generation in our American history. And as you know, a lot of you know, I love history. And if you want to see terror, look at my family's faces if they know they're stuck with me in a museum. It can be bad. I love history. But looking back on Bill's life, he did some really, really amazing things from the circumstances that he came from. He was born in the Great Depression. A really terrible time in American history. He lived an extraordinary life in extraordinary times. He was born to a loving mother, but he lost his father when he was only 3 years old. So they're living in a rural coal mine town, and in the Great Depression, he started out life pretty rough. But that was one of the first obstacles that he overcame. And he would overcome so many more. And again, it was such a great example. He was raised by two strong women, his mother Olive and grandmother Johnson. He grew up in that small rural town of Moorhead. And he had to work at a young age to help around the household. If you can imagine Bill G. milking cows. One of the first things that I noticed about Bill after I met him was his humbleness and his servant leadership. He was always respectful to people, all people. He was a real gentleman in every way. You could see the lasting impact that the women in his life had left. You could see how much he loved his family, how much they meant to him. He was one of the most generous and selfless people that I had ever met. He was a disciplined man. He was punctual and organized. He was a man of great restraint. He thought before he acted and always put others' needs ahead of his own. I believe his childhood greatly influenced his character. And perhaps the greatest gift that he received was his moral foundation. Bill knew right from wrong, but gave much grace. Bill spoke fondly of his education that he received in Moorhead. In his early, difficult situation, he realized that education would be his path to a better life. He spoke fondly of his experience in his education and athletics in high school. And both of them became passions throughout his life. He went to Kentucky for undergrad, Syracuse for his master's, and the Wharton Business School at the University of Pennsylvania. FYI, that's the world's oldest collegiate business school and an Ivy League school. Did I mention that he was an intelligent man? This always showed me the resilience and discipline and determination side of Bill. I do think that he did not really enjoy the farm life so much, that he was determined to set another path for his life. It also demonstrates a work ethic instilled in his childhood. I would like to mention his service to our country. He once stated that he swore to himself that he would never teach and never enlist. He said, see how well that worked out. He decided to enlist in the Navy rather than get drafted. There was this little police action going on at the time called the Korean War. He served with distinction, as he did everything. He served as a line officer, which one of his duties was to handle the artillery and the big gun on the ship. Again, can you imagine Bill handling a big gun? He did it well. He would say, as he traveled the world in the Navy, that he enjoyed the Caribbean, but he would not ever, ever, ever care to go back to Greenland, ever again. He didn't like the cold. Again, true to form, Bill spent more money in the Navy on his family for gifts like china from the Orient than on himself. We actually have some of that china today. Again, over and over, Bill did the next right thing in his life, even if it wasn't pleasant. He overcame adversity time after time. Bill's personal life was done on his terms. He had great insight into people. He met a woman named Connie G at his work and developed a friendship. There was something special there, he knew, after they had developed a friendship. But he had to win over the hearts of the Pritt family, and he did so with the respect that he showed Connie. And you know, if you know the Pritt family, you know how difficult that was. Again, overcoming adversity, resiliency. Bill and Connie were married. Bill decided to get his first doctorate, or decided to get his doctorate in finance and insurance. His first job was at OU after he got his doctorate. It was there that Bill knew that he had made the right decision because he loved to teach. He discovered that he was really good at it, and it became a passion. Again, his determination had paid off. Soon after they were married, they wanted to have children. But after a considerable amount of time and no success, they went to a doctor who told them, "You're not going to have children. You're not going to have children." They were devastated. And so they just thought, we're just not going to have kids, but we're going to love each other. It was soon after that Connie went to the doctor because she was not feeling well. And she got the greatest surprise of her life. That came in the form of Karen. They were overjoyed. And just to show that God was in control, he gave me Stacy 6 years later. Then I mentioned that Bill was a Christian. And again, that was a gift from his childhood that would sustain him through the difficult times that would come in his life. Bill overcame much adversity, from sickness to those he loved and his own personal health. His mother Olive was chronically ill her entire adult life. Bill had an extremely dangerous and complex surgery to remove part of his lung. FYI, the technology that was used in that day and time would be considered barbaric by today's standards. And most surgeons that I know would not even have attempted it. But he knew that he had to do it, and he, again, overcame that adversity and recovered. He was a caretaker for his wife, Connie, when she developed a brain tumor and eventually passed away. When family needed help, he was always there. They always came to Bill. If anyone in this world could empathize with Job, it was Bill. And that is what I most admire about Bill. He dealt with crazy adversity most of his life. But he handled it in the most amazing way. He always put others first. He was always the same caring, generous guy to his family and friends. He always had that wry, sharp sense of humor in all circumstances. I believe the Lord rewards us for our faithfulness. And he brought Martha into his life. Martha made Bill whole again and helped him heal. It was so nice to see the love and peace that came into his life. Yes, Bill was part of the greatest generation. He overcame many obstacles, like many had to during that generation. But he set an example that was special. I believe Bill followed the Lord's direction his entire life, which helped him get through all the adversity that came his way. I am confident that as he walked through the gates of heaven, he heard, "Well done, my good and faithful servant. Well done."